We think that sort of this storm is saving its worst for last.
Right now at 11, preparing for an ice storm, the timing of the threat that has officials urging people once again to stay off the roads. Plus,
and we see actually the dirt starting to come up, and it's almost like it's breathing. It's spooky.
Watching and worrying as neighbors clearing debris from the weekend brace for even more to fall. Then,
our crews are working as quickly as they can
as PGE struggles to get the power back on before round 2. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm David Molko, and as you may have noticed tonight, our winter storm coverage is stretching on with the imminent threat of ice in the form of freezing rain. So bear with us and with the forecast as once again we begin with team coverage, starting with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino for a look at the timing when it comes to the ice. Matt?
Yeah, David, things have slowed down just a little bit. Otherwise, the forecast remains pretty much on track. We had been talking about earlier. In Portland right now, it's 23 degrees. The wind chill is down to 9. Still have that east wind. It's ramped up a little bit. It's going to keep doing that overnight tonight. Then begin to die down during the day tomorrow, which will be good. Check this out. That's the Dalles. It's 5 degrees in the Dalles. So all that cold air in the Columbia Basin, eastern Oregon, acts as a source region. And as long as we have the wind blowing from east to west and through the gorge, we tap into that source region. So we've got the ice storm warning from tomorrow morning until 4 a.m. for the Portland area and in the gorge as well. The ice is going to hang on even longer there. Elsewhere in the valley, though, notice that it expires earlier. 10 o'clock tomorrow night, the valley will begin to get out of it. And actually, it's been moved a little bit farther north. So, again, the farther south you are, the less freezing rain you get, and the sooner you warm above freezing and stay there. Look at our ice forecast here. It's about 1/3 of an inch for Salem, about 2/10, 3/10 of an inch in Portland. Some places, though, may end up with about 1/2 inch, especially when you look out in the gorge here. That, of course, is where the ice will be the most problematic. And really, areas east of I-205 in the Portland area will warm up last. So it's going to be a process, and it moves from south to north and from west to east. The coast, barely any freezing rain at all. Now, this storm's different because it moves north of us, so that gives us the south wind that will allow us to finally warm above freezing. Look at this. It doesn't happen in Portland, though, until about 5, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. However, in Salem, it happens a lot sooner, by about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow night. So that's an example as to how this goes. So bottom line, freezing rain begins late afternoon tomorrow in the Portland area. 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice, and we'll warm above freezing early Wednesday, David.
Yeah, ready to thaw out here. Thank you, Matt. Now, ahead of that ice, most school districts have already called off classes for tomorrow. We've got the full list running at the bottom of the screen in red, and of course on KGW.com. There is also a renewed warning tonight from state and local officials. PBOT not mincing words, telling everybody to avoid all travel on Tuesday. ODOT put it like this.
We think that sort of this storm is saving its worst for last.
Okay, Don Hamilton says crews have been working 12-hour days since Friday trying to keep the roads as clear and safe as possible. Those efforts will continue through tomorrow, but he cautions when it comes to ice, there are limits.
We're preparing for this by putting some de-icer down on the road, getting the salt down, getting all of our tools down on the road in anticipation of this. And we're encouraging everybody to stay home one more day until this is all done.
All right, that message could not be more clear. He says they are also keeping a close eye on trouble spots in higher elevations, including the Coast Ranges, the Cascades, and of course the Columbia River Gorge. Meanwhile, MAX service remains suspended indefinitely because of conditions on the tracks. It's been shut down now for more than 48 hours, and there is no indication that will change at all on Tuesday. Buses are running on all scheduled lines, and shuttles are replacing trains on MAX lines. But keep in mind, some buses remain chained and cannot go faster than 25 miles an hour.
There it goes.
And it's another one. New video in tonight shows what played out around our area this weekend over and over again. This one coming down in Beaverton. Hundreds have fallen since Saturday, knocking out power, closing roads, destroying homes, and tragically killing 2 people. There's also a strong risk in their weakened state, and with ice on the way, more could quickly come crashing down. Our Catherine Cook is live in Southwest Portland with a look at one near disaster and a neighborhood's concerns heading into tomorrow. Catherine.
David, people in Mountain Park, that's a neighborhood in Lake Oswego, are especially on edge tonight. They expect another 100-foot plus tree to come down any time. And once you see what they shared with us, You'll understand why they're so scared.
Oh my gosh.
Tony Tarr couldn't believe he captured this moment.
It's perfect. Yes, it didn't hit anybody.
That this tree threaded a needle of sorts
Oh my gosh.
onto Oriole Lane in Lake Oswego.
No, it didn't hit her house.
It happened around noon Monday. Tony and his wife Brenda
I was like, oh my God, it's finally coming down.
had been bracing for this all weekend. You can see how far the tree had been leaning.
And we thought it would hit the front of that house, and it didn't. It didn't even hit the lamppost.
They're almost giddy with relief. In Lake Oswego alone, firefighters say they've responded to at least 30 calls of trees falling into homes. In one case, a man was killed. That explains why Lake Oswego police drove through this neighborhood in Mountain Park with a warning.
They actually want us to leave. They want us to leave, but we feel we're okay.
This particular tree that will come down
down the street.
it's not in our line of sight.
That's going to go. It's just a matter of time.
It is in Mark Halliston's.
It's pretty active and it's been blowing around, but down at the ground is where the storage is. This is a disaster waiting to happen.
Mark lives a few houses down from the Tars. He says this 120-foot Douglas fir has been creaking for a couple days now. You can see where its burgeoning roots crack the snow around its trunk.
There, look at that. Watch it move. I mean, it's just heaving the whole. Look at it go, man.
It's disconcerting, to say the least.
It's like there's something underneath there trying to get out.
Mark plans to stay, but several neighbors have already left. Lake Oswego Fire Marshal Hert Zoutendijk says for those in potential harm's way, that's a good idea. He's dealt with a lot of storms in his day.
But nothing like this where so many trees are coming down and have come down, and then so many hitting homes.
Looking ahead, Hert says freezing rain in the forecast could be another concern for everyone.
We've been saying it all along from the city that, people should stay indoors if they can.
Back on Oriole Lane, neighbors will certainly remember this. They'll remember how they got through it.
Once it went down, it took us 45 minutes, 2 chainsaws and 8 people, and we cleaned up the entire mess and opened the road. Oh my gosh, it missed everything!
But most of all, they'll remember what didn't happen.
Oh, I can't believe it! Thank you, God!
A lot of people lifting up praises in that neighborhood. Back live tonight, a state of emergency remains in effect in Lake Oswego as people brace for more high wind, that freezing rain tomorrow night, and potentially more power outages. Officials say it is critical to check on your neighbors, make sure they're okay. And also, if you happen to have one of those tall, leaning, or maybe even falling trees occur on your property, it's your responsibility to take care of it. So you might want to reach out to a professional arborist for help. David.
Yeah, chances are the wait for that, though, might be a while. So glad everybody in that neighborhood is okay. Thank you, Catherine, for that story. And speaking of waiting, how about the tens of thousands of people who are going into a third night now without power and in many cases without heat? Now, last check, some 40,000 PGE customers remain in the dark. Let's bring in Alma McCarty, also in Southwest Portland. Alma, I imagine a lot of folks are also worried about what tomorrow might bring.
Yeah, David, like you said, lots of people are without power in all parts of the city of Portland and really beyond because of this event. We spoke with some residents who live in an apartment building in Goose Hollow. They reported losing power over the weekend. It's still not back on, and honestly, at this point, they're just hoping for some answers before the latest round of winter weather sets in. After wind, snow, and bone-chilling cold over the weekend, this is a welcome sight. Line workers bracing the freezing temperatures to restore power to thousands.
We've made some significant progress in assessing damages alongside restoring our service.
However, as of Monday night, many PGE customers remain in the dark.
Tonight's going to be a very, very hard night.
That includes tenants in Southwest Portland at the Morrison, apartments across the street from Providence Park. Several told KGW some areas like the community room, hallways, and offices have power, but none of the units do.
I don't understand how are we on a different power grid? Is it something to do with management? I mean, because it's the only building.
I'm just wondering who's responsible.
We just don't know when it's going to come back on or what's going on. And there are so many families, and there's a lot of elderly people with disabilities. Like I have a disability, but it makes it harder, especially when you're pitch dark and trying to maneuver or get around.
According to PGE's outage restoration map, power should return here by 10 p.m. Tuesday night. However, some residents fear the icy blast could set the efforts back even further.
And it was okay at first because, if you've been in a unit, your unit stays warm for a while. But now our refrigerators, our food is beginning to deplenish. The rooms they're ice cold.
PGE says there are 1,400 people working to get the power back on, including crews from neighboring states who will stick around through the upcoming weather event. A spokesperson attributing current delays to the extent of the damage.
Our crews are working as quickly as they can, but safety is the number one driving factor.
In an effort to find out why the power was out for the tenants of the Morrison, specifically while the surrounding buildings did appear to have power, I reached out to Home Forward, which is the housing authority for that specific complex, to the leasing office, and to PGE for some answers. So far, we haven't heard back. David?
Absolutely frustrating. Let's hope it gets resolved. Thank you, Alma. Well, let us talk now about surviving the cold, because according to Multnomah County, a record number of people have been staying at warming shelters. They served 1,200 last night alone. And that's not just people without a home, but those who lost power in the storm. There have been 2 suspected deaths in Multnomah County from hypothermia in the storm, which is partially why the county's expanding its warming shelter sites. There are now 12 that are open, but with that comes a big need for more volunteers.
Our staff at the county, the city, at nonprofits are tiring out. They're exhausted. They've been working for a week now to do outreach and shelter, and we're asking for 100 community volunteers to join us in the next 24 hours.
And you can sign up at the county's website. That's multco.us/cold. The full list is there. All you need to do is watch a 30-minute training video. Straight ahead at 11, 3 tickets out of Iowa. How well Donald Trump did in the Hawkeye State and who came in second. Plus, why 250,000 Oregonians might be breathing a big sigh of relief.